24 hours after Senator Ted Cruz claimed that there was a smear campaign against Clarence Thomas, and he went on for what seemed like forever doing it, we find out that billionaire Harlan Crow also paid for Clarence Thomas's adopted sons. That's a questionable right there. Anyway, the son's $75,000 a year private school tuition. So Harlan Crow paid for vacations, accommodations, home purchases, free tuition. Again, let's remember that Harlan Crow met Clarence Thomas after he was already seated on the Supreme Court. Let's take a listen, if you can stomach it, to Ted Cruz talking a little bit. And again, if your stomach does flips in disgust, that's just a little piece of your soul dying.
Justice Thomas rightly described the treatment he got from then Chairman Joe Biden and Senate Democrats as a, quote, high-tech lynching.
Justice Thomas, the same one who asked Anita Hill if it was her pube on his Coca-Cola or something.
It is sad to see 30 years later, this committee is again engaged in the same despicable tactics.
What is sad to see is that 30 years later, Clarence Thomas has not only not changed from his own despicable way of being, but, you know, he's even more despicable now. I guess sexual assault isn't enough for you know, we didn't get rid of Brett Kavanaugh for sexual assault allegations that were credible. Clarence Thomas I don't think he had any ramifications from the sexual assault allegations from Anita Hill and the whole trial there, except for maybe some embarrassment, but clearly it hasn't cost him anything. If anything, he's still on the court and he's making bank by this Harlan Crow guy for, I'm assuming, influence.
Senate Democrats and their lapdogs in the media are engaged in a...
That's me. I'm a lapdog for the Senate Democrats in the media. Lick, lick.
a twofold political campaign. Number one, to delegitimize the Supreme Court of the United States because they're angry that there are a majority of constitutionalists on the court.
Actually, we want to delegitimize the Supreme Court of the United States because there are people on the Supreme Court of the United States, the highest court in the land, who are breaking the law. And I believe that that would make them untrustworthy to be, you know, presiding over our laws. Anyone? Who's with me? Cruz?
But number two, very directly, this is a political campaign designed to smear Justice Clarence Thomas.
Ted Cruz said, number two, this is a political campaign designed to smear Clarence Thomas. Yes, that is a bunch of number two. Very good. That's probably the first honest thing you've said here, Ted.
And the reason is simple. The left despises Clarence Thomas. And they do not despise him because he's a conservative. The left despises Clarence Thomas because he is a conservative African-American. Here's what Clarence Thomas said at that confirmation hearing. He said,
that's right. The left is known for despising African-Americans. Now, I might be confused about African-Americans voting for a party who, if they could, would, as Donald Trump said, end the Constitution and therefore end protections against slavery, which you know that the right would be happy to do. You got your Proud Boys, you got your not so proud boys. They would be happy to bring back slavery. Trump said he wants to end the Constitution. And all of these Ted Cruz-y lookalike people, all of these DeSantis's and others who want to be Donald Trump, the next Donald Trump, the next fascist in chief, they're just going to fall in line with this authoritarian agenda. Okay? So let's not fool ourselves. Oh, by the way, Ted Cruz, I put it in a different video. You can go and take a look here on the Political Voices Network. But Ted Cruz, a picture of Ted Cruz has been going all around the internet of Ted Cruz palling around with a terrorist. There he is, Ted Cruz palling around with Enrico Tarrio, who was just convicted of seditious conspiracy today for the events of January the 6th. I'm Julianna Forlano. You are watching the Political Voices Network. Put your comments below. See you next time.